Old age pension came about in around 2002 as the election manifesto of the ruling Lesotho Congress for Democracy. But implementation came in 2004 in November. This came out in the budget speech by the Minister of Finance and Planning in his 04-05 budget speech. Then implementation was made in November 04. With the current increase from 150 Maluti to 200, we are now transferring on a monthly basis an amount of about 15 million Maluti, which is equivalent of 15 million rands. There is no external funding, it is purely from domestic resources. Initially, when it started in November 04, we had about 64,000 old age pensioners. But currently, they have now increased to 77,000. We are now 30 months into this scheme, which is 2.5 years old now. One would qualify for old age pension at the age of 70 or above. Otherwise, you have to be a citizen of Lesotho, you have to be 70 years, and you shouldn't be earning any other pension higher than the stipulated one. It excludes citizens who are already earning a pension from the government fund, which is the consolidated fund of the government. If you earn any pension which is higher than the stipulated amount of 200 Maluti as it is now, you cannot register for old age pension. For one to be registered, they have to produce a passport. We know that most of our old people don't travel much, and most of their passports have expired. So we have also, they have to include the chief's affidavit to that effect that such a pensioner is still alive and is a citizen of Lesotho. We also use the IEC voters registration cards. They are also used for registration. In the absence of any of the two, any acceptable form of photographic identification is used. We use the village chiefs to register at community level, who would then take up the registration forms to the offices of the district administrator at district level, who would then submit the registration form to the headquarters here at pensions office. Then such a person will then be included into the pensions payroll. When we initially started registering, we had to go out without using the village chiefs. The office had to go out into the villages and did the registration themselves. We did it on a constituency basis. We have 80 constituencies. We have 128 local community councils. And we used also the Independent Electoral Commission registration centers because they were well known to the pensioners and it was closer to them for registration. And we are still maintaining that structure for registration even to date. The government accounts are held with the Central Bank of Lesotho. So what we do, we instruct the Central Bank to transfer the 15 million to the post office bank account, whereby the post office officials would then withdraw that amount and distribute it over the 291 pay points countrywide. We also produce a payroll list which lists all the pensioners per constituency and per pay point. So what normally happens at pay point is that a pensioner would come up and produce identity. And the paying officer at the pay center would then check on the payroll list whether he appears. And then the pensioner would then sign or thumbprint and then he'll be given the 200 marit. We had a problem of people with identities. We also had a problem of people who didn't even know when they were born. So what we used as a tool for that, we developed a calendar of historical events, whereby we listed all the historical events, so that when a pensioner comes for registration, who could only remember the historical events that took place at the time of birth, then we simply refer to the calendar. They will say, this is the year that you were born. Currently, we don't have a national identity, but it is in process. And we are still experiencing a number of problems. One, we are experiencing people who are registering but who do not qualify for pensions. Not qualifying in the sense that they are below the age of 70. We also have a problem with our local authorities.